And hey, you guys, so good to be back with you. I've missed you. Where have you all been anyway? So, hey, give us a shout out where you're from. I see we've got John from Seattle. And just chime in here. Let us know where you're from. And later on, let us know your questions for our guest, Peter Hurley, who we're going to be talking with in a minute. But first of all, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Marc Silber. I'm a photographer and author in Carmel, California. And hey, this show is brought to you by our friends at Bay Photo Lab. Listen, I've been working with these guys for years. They do fantastic work. They have fantastic customer service. They'll print anything you want. Prints on the wall, framed, not framed. They'll make coffee cups. They'll make books, really literally calendars, anything you want. And they'll give you a 25% discount as a new customer. So listen, do yourself a favor, support them, support yourself, and support the show. Go to bayphotolab.com. All right, it's actually bayphoto.com is their correct URL. Now, our guest again is the one and only premier headshot and portrait photographer in New York City, Peter Hurley. And he's known for how he captures genuine expressions in his portraits and headshots. And he's going to give us some inside skinny how he does that. Peter, welcome back to Advancing Your Photography. It's so great to have you back with us.
Hey, Mark, man, thanks for inviting me back. That was cool the first time. I'm ready to chat a little bit more. It was cool. I don't think we finished up the first time. We have stuff to talk about.
We got more stuff to talk about. I don't think we're going to ever run out of things to talk about. I mean, we just scraped the surface, and today we're going to pull the curtain back a little bit. I hope you're dressed behind there, because we're going to pull the curtain back and see what goes on behind the curtain with Peter Hurley, specifically Hurleyisms and how you use them. And where do we start? So how about the squinch? I'm curious. I think I understand it, but I want to hear it from you. What is the squinch and how do we use it, and why should photographers know about it?
Well, it's funny. The first thing I realized when I first started photographing, and when I was a model, I didn't know anything about squinting your eyes or squinching or anything. I think it's just when the photographer made me comfortable, I looked that way. Yeah. And I thought, the models always look cool. And so when I picked up a camera, all the actors in the headshots in New York were all wide-eyed. And they just looked out to lunch to me. They just looked out of it. I hated it. And I was like, I don't want to shoot like that. What's wrong? I got to make these people squint or something. So I would say squint like every shoot, like thousands. All day long. And then I did these videos of squinting. And then I was like, it's not really squinting because squinting's too much. And then I think my daughter one day said, Dad, it's a squinch. And I was like, that's it. That's it. I was like, that's it. And then I defined it. So a squinch is narrowing the distance between your lower eyelid and your pupil. That's what I coined it as. And what that does is it creates confidence in the eye. But the thing is that that we do it on a daily basis. Anything that we're confident at, or if we're feeling confidence internally, externally, it shows up through a squinch. It's the same way as internally. If we feel fear, externally our eyes widen. So I'm just doing that. So what happens is if we're uncertain, our eyes widen. So that's the first thing that somebody does when they're in front of the camera, because they are uncertain about what they're doing. So their eyes widen. So I just had to negate that, and I did it artificially for a long time in my career. And then basically you do it artificially at first, and then once somebody becomes comfortable in front of your camera, they don't do that anymore. So you get actually to the good stuff.
Well, can you show me, like last time you had me sit up properly and, put the string through my head and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Can you show me how to squinch?
Ankles. You're already squinchy. I probably have you. So you're pretty squinchy already. That's squinting. Don't overdo it.
You don't want that.
Wide-eyed. Right? You don't want that. Leave your brows alone. Don't touch the brows. Relax the brow. Some brow pressure. Yeah.
So what are we moving? The bottom?
Now, isolating your lower eyelid And if I were you, your left eye, you have slight eye difference. Most humans, our eyes are not completely even, so we have a slight eye difference. Your left eye is a little bit larger than your right, so I wouldn't even squint your right eye. Just do independent squinching. All you got to do is isolate that orbicularis oculi underneath your eyeball.
Easier said than done.
Left eye, which is muscle that surrounds it. You're doing it though.
There we go. So just the left eye.
The thing is just the left, and the thing is that you're overdoing it a touch. So settle down.
Okay.
So this is what happens. I teach this, and then photographers go hog wild with people, and then they look squinty. It doesn't look like human expression, so that doesn't work. Like, see, you just laughed for real, and your eyes got squinchy.
Yeah, I get it.
Deal. When we laugh, we're squinchy. When we're laughing for real.
But it is something you kind of have to practice. It's like a yoga exercise or something. You got to isolate those muscles.
You can isolate it. Yeah, I have very good control over my lower eyelid muscles. The one thing that you don't want to do.
Let me see you do it. Let me see you do it.
I'm a little bit far away from the camera, but let me take my.
Let me just take a look at
here.
Yeah.
See Norm at chat. Hey Norm. So it's I don't know how well you can see me, but if I was uncertain, it'd be like I'd look at the camera like this, which is not the normal way that I talk to anybody. And I have small eyes, so squinching would be, or a relaxed eye would be this. This is a relaxed eye.
Okay.
This is This is a relaxed eye, and then which I could shoot, but a squinching would be more like this, and it's just the lower lids up.
I get it. Yeah, there you go. You've really got that.
Yeah.
Can you,
and then you can squinch them? This is muscle memory, and you got to practice.
The
thing is that our subconscious controls it for us. So if you're worried out there about walking around without a squinch, you'd never do, because your subconscious does it for you.
It just automatically works it. Hey, would you show us some of you're going to screen share. Can you show us some examples of some squinches in your portraits?
Yeah. I'm going to give you.
While you're doing that, I got a question for you. Is this something that you find that, like, a lot of people, celebrities and movie stars who are always on camera, have they kind of developed this on their own? Or is this something unique to your portraiture?
Question. No, I mean the big dilemma for me was always that Tyra Banks always called it a smile with your eyes. But that doesn't really define it. Like, smiling with your eyes, I don't understand.
What does that mean, really?
It doesn't give you anything to do it. It doesn't really mean anything. So I said, and if that's what she means, which is the squinch, I defined the squinch, I trademarked it, and I gave it a definition that's easy to understand, which is narrow the distance between your lower eyelid and your pupil. And I've got a whole rendition here to show everybody. So, I'm happy to do a screen share and show the way that I, get into my squinching mode.
Let's see those squinches.
So the question is,
I've got some here. If it's easier, I could pop.
Why don't I just put it up behind me?
Okay, that's even better. Put it up behind you. Let's see. There's the squinch right behind you. And it's trademarked even. Wow.
It's trademarked.
If I use the term squinch, are you going to come after me?
I'm going to show video.
Secret of looking picture perfect
there we go.
Every photo.
Video.
According to a new video from a professional photographer that has gone super viral, there's one facial expression that makes everyone instantly look better. It's called squinching. And we sent Sarah Haynes out to learn how it's done. Sarah?
Thanks, Lara. In this day and age of smartphones, everyone's got a camera and no one wants to miss a photo op. So cue the posing. We've seen blue steel, the sultry pout, but what if there was one look that guaranteed a better picture? There is. Meet the squinch. Celebs do it on the red carpet. Models do it on the runway. Tyra Banks even did it on GMA, perfecting her picture-perfect pose by smizing.
Define for our audience who doesn't know already what a smize is.
It's to smile with your eyes. It's shortened, smize. And this is smizing.
But now it's all about the art of the squinch. You heard right, the squinch. A magical combo of squinting and pinching that can instantly transform your deer in headlights look into a more sultry gaze.
Confidence comes from the eyes, and so does fear.
It's the secret weapon of photographer and former model Peter Hurley. who posted this 15-minute tutorial to his YouTube channel on Tuesday that now has more than 175,000 hits and counting. I went to Peter's New York studio to see how I could up my say cheese game.
Now I want you to squinch.
What is squinching?
I would have to say that squinching is narrowing the distance between your pupil and your lower eyelid to create confidence to the onlooker.
Why did you come out with the squinch?
I needed a word for it because I would always tell people to squint, but then I'd be like, no, it's not really squinting. And I was like, I gotta make another word for this.
If you want to pick up a girl at the coffee shop, squinch.
You better
Squinch the
squint.
heck out of it.
Yes.
Of course, Peter is no stranger to sharing his tricks of the trade.
You don't want to be like this because this is overkill.
Just last year, he posted this video to YouTube on how to accent your jawline, and it went viral with almost 1 million hits.
I just want to help people look better in pictures, especially with all the pictures being taken these days.
Tools Peter says will make your next selfie session ooze with confidence. So pretty much what he said is people get nervous in front of the camera and they kind of freeze up. This will give you an emotion because we naturally squinch when we're talking.
Oh,
So
look, you just did it.
I did it. I was copying.
Really?
Oh.
So do squint. Rob, you're doing it right now.
Yeah, but see, you said bring your lower lids
It's
up.
bring
That's
your
not,
lower
I don't
up.
think that's possible.
Squinting is closing your eyes like this.
Right.
Right.
Squinching is when your eyes stay open, but you bring just the this lower lid up.
Yes.
There's a muscle there.
goes down with
Well, I added a lot of emotion. I got motivated.
Yeah,
and
I totally
felt
feel
it.
it.
Dan,
I-
I'd like to see
table.
Dan Hurst squinch, please.
I am impossible doing any. I can't do anything other than smirk.
So you're not
That's
even
the only
gonna try-
facial expression I can do.
You do it so well.
Yes, I do. I'm
Our
smirking at you
viewers,
right now.
got in on the act. We have some selfies of squinching. Do we have these? Look at these. That's a pretty good one. What do you think, Sarah?
Well, I'm not a pro yet because I actually struggle with the squinch, but I think it's pretty
Do
good.
we have any other? Can I see? Oh,
That's a squinch.
there you go. And that's a smirking squinch.
That's
Nice.
like you, Dan.
Thank you,
Harris.
viewers. Oh, I like
That's
that
a
before and
squinch.
after.
That's definitely a squinch.
Nicely done.
See how one looks blank and one looks
Squinch plus
emotive?
fedora equals unstoppable. by the
That's
way.
He
right.
cheated. He cheated. He added
Yeah.
props.
All right. Thanks so much. That was big fun.
They look like squinting. And it still looks like squinting.
Because you
All
are
right.
squinting right now.
Fair.
So do you think when you practice, is it good to start with the deer in the headlights and then squinch down just to kind of get a the contrast?
I think you just look in the mirror yourself and futz around.
Okay. Well, that's a good tip. So when you take portraits and headshots, you coach your subject on doing this, right? When they walk in the room and you say, okay.
I won't shoot. I don't shoot without them squinching usually. Because I don't want them to look fearful, and if they're not squinching, they look scared. Like when I showed you before, a relaxed eye. If they have a relaxed eye, I'll shoot them. But normally I want the squinch. If they're more toward the serious side. If they're laughing, they're squinching anyway, so it's fine.
Good tip. Okay. So, all right. How about some other Hurleyisms? First of all, what are Hurleyisms and how do you use them?
Dig into this? Yeah, but I can dig into squinching more.
Okay,
when I have
sure.
a whole rendition.
Dig into the squinch. I want to hear more about it.
It got picked up by Orange is the New Black, and they ran this scene.
I'm squinching on TV.
She said, I'm going to smize, and she said, no, I'm squinching. I was like, okay, squinching and teaguing, whatever that means.
Nice.
And then this was a video of me. I'm in it.
So
this is just, but this is me.
So I'm
Here,
shooting.
look at this. Well, you could see me.
And
Yeah.
Karen's doing is amazing, but we're working on the squints, and she
This is
said
before I called it the squinch. I was
when I tell an
I was
actor-
squinting.
This took me,
Squinting.
I just realized
Watch
this.
this. Watch this.
When I tell an actor, first of all, you don't have to squint. You guys know about the squinting, but you really don't have to squint the whole time. If I give you a look like this, I'm not squinting, right? But when I tell an actor to do that look, they do this. They go like, "This is what I'm doing." Watch when I let go of my eyes. I'm gonna do it again. So I want them to go like this, not squinting, right? They go like this. See the difference? That's the difference. So watch. This is cool, and then I'm gonna let it go, and you'll see the difference. Watch this. So I have to think about it. Watch this. How do I do it? See, I let go of it. You see how I let go of it? So I'll do it again. So see how it's these muscles in here, I think. I'm watching myself as I do this. Try it yourself in the mirror. Do some mirror work with this. You ready? So it's like this. Not squinting. Eyes wide open, but it looks cool. Watch what an actor does. See the difference? So it really is. It's like the thought. Look at this little kick I'm getting from the sun out here. That's kind of cool. The thought, and then that, and Karen and I just discovered that, right, Karen? Did we just discover that? We just discovered that.
We did. It's the muscles right in there.
Exactly. Pretty cool.
So I want you guys to work on that, and then I want to show you negative squinching. So negative squinching is basically what I call a brain freeze, or Sampaku is a when you see the white in 3 corners of somebody's eyes, and that's
right.
From friends told me about that, and it's crazy to see that because people are nuts when they have that in their eye. Or I call it out to lunchitis, and it looks like this.
Ooh, not so good. Not a good look. Ah,
it's terrible.
That's like ultimate deer in the headlight.
If anybody out there took these pictures, I apologize because I just pulled them off of Google. But here's a woman definitely negative squinching.
We can't quite see her.
This guy is
there we go.
This guy's not. This guy's negative squinching. Yeah, the camera's not exactly perfect with the screen. She just looks miserable. This guy's not in good shape. All of these are negative squinchers. And just miserable and not cool. So to me, that's what I was seeing. And I always tell people you need a stimulus package, and I always look at like celebrities, and they always look cool. Some of these that are higher in frame you're gonna miss, but I'll shoot the lower ones in frame just because we're not. You can see the level of coolness in these.
Look at the squinch that he has. Oh man, look at these are professional squinchers.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp, dig that squinch.
Yeah.
James Franco.
Now, you can do the independent squinching, and that's lower isolation of the lower eyelid muscle. I actually have a squinch book. I don't know if they're all in my studio, and it sits next to me, and I go through these, and I talk about these pictures, and the 3 women on this side are not squinching, and the 2 on this side are, and you can see that. You can see in this picture, Marissa Tomei is very confident, and Nia Long, I believe that is, she looks petrified.
Interesting.
Just see that this is what goes on out there. So they know whenever a woman won't squinch for me, I just show them this. I'm like, if Scarlett can do that.
Scarlett has really got that squinch. Wow. Peter, this is like learning a language I didn't even know was out there.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it is my life's work, this kind of stuff. I'm very into facial expressions and connecting with my subject on a level that comes to their, so I'm pulling expressions out of their face through the connection that I created with them, whether that's coaching them or whether it's whatever it takes to get there. I don't care. I just read them when they come in and decide what I think they need to give me the best output that we're going to get these pictures. So and I treat based off of, like, if they're really freaked out, that's pretty easy to read that on people. And you see it in their eyes first and their body language. So if they get in front of the camera and there's a bigger change from where they were already freaked out to there, I know I've got to work with them on a very direct level to get them where I want. If they come in and they're totally chill and cool, and I don't even have to do anything, I just start to collaborate with them, and that's the way it works. But if they're not looking so good, it doesn't help me. So I just have all these examples that I use, and occasionally I have these shots in a magazine, and I'll bring them out and show them to clients and talk about why I'm discussing them. This one's one of my favorites. I don't know if you can see it, but there is one dog in the shot that's cooler than the other 2.
Oh yeah, I see the dog, because the one on the bottom and the one on the top are deer in the headlights. This guy in the middle has got his cool together.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. A dog squinch.
So that's pretty much it. You can see here, Clive Owen is not squinching in this one, and he's squinching here, and the level of coolness went through the roof.
Look at
he's
the cool
kind of
factor.
blank and just chill there. It's still a cool shot, but he's way cool. I think he's just suave and charming there.
This is like a bonus for everybody watching. We're not only going to learn how to do this for our subjects, but we can learn how to look cool ourselves with that proper squinch. Now, I have another question for you. Subset. Do you coach people on smiling? Because I noticed like celebrities. You look at Tom Cruise, man. He knows how to smile. I mean, this guy has got a megawatt smile. But I even for myself, when I get behind the camera and I try to smile, it looks weird. It's not a natural look. So is there a coaching process you go through with that as well?
Well, there is no natural big smile unless you're actually laughing about something.
Yeah.
Or you're really good at fake. I used to, when I was modeling, my agent said to me, she goes, every time I get the casting for a client calls and they say, look, we need somebody really smiley for this job, she sends out me and this other guy named Peter actually as well. And she goes, I know when I send it out and you go to the casting, either you or him get it. And I don't understand why everybody else I send never gets it. So she just started sending us and a couple other guys and
you
stuff.
were the smiling
get
guys.
it. Like me, we were just the smiling. I don't know. It was something about the energy. I don't know that my teeth were that great or my smile is that great in general. But I would watch the other models when they would go, because you're in line and then you go up, and the way to do it anyway was Polaroid. Now it's digital. It's probably the same thing. I haven't been on casting since I can remember. But I'd be waiting and I'd be next, and then I'd go and I'd watch people. And they do tiny little smiles, like, or if they did do smiles, if you smile with your mouth open, it looks really fake. It's very hard with your mouth open unless you're laughing about something, unless you go overboard. So what I would do is go overboard and just fake it. So I'll give you an example. So a model would walk in front of me and they'd go, and normally they want to see both sides of your face. So they do something like this, like, and then they'd leave and they'd be like, thank you very much. It's okay.
Kind of a cheesy look.
And they go, and they say this, do the same thing. And I just go like, and I just do this.
Like you're laughing.
Yeah, like I'm laughing. So I used to get paid for jobs where I could just do that. So, there are people that can fake it, and you could not, if I didn't discuss the fact that I was going to do that on command, I don't think anybody would know that I was faking it.
No, that's a good tip.
My cheeks hurt on some jobs. I mean, it was just because one job I was out in a sailboat. I raced sailboats. So this job, I had quit modeling years. It'd been years. This was the last modeling job I ever did. It was for Chase. And the funny thing was the casting director we were friends. So she never forgot me. So she goes, wait a minute, this is a sailing thing where we need somebody to smile. I have the guy.
Whoa,
I have the perfect guy. So she called me, and I was a full-time photographer then, and I was like, I'm like, she's like, will you do it? Come on, just do it for me. I was like, that'll be fun. And then I found out that Bruce Weber's assistant one of his old assistants was shooting the job, and I'm a photographer because Bruce Weber encouraged me to pick up a camera. So I was like, I'm going to go hang out with that dude. And he's a really good photographer. So, but he was on a motorboat. We were being towed in a catamaran. I have that shot. Is it in here? I don't know if that shot is in I think I have it in here, actually. The shot may be in here. No.
Pretty classic. I think I've seen it.
I usually have it, but I don't have it in this presentation. I don't know what presentation it's in.
And that was for Chase, you said?
It was for Chase.
Wow.
So I'm just seeing if I have it on my computer so I can put it on behind me. But anyway, so I'm laughing the whole time. He's a mile away, and my cheeks are killing me. It was crazy. It was not a. I wish I had this shot, but it's. I don't know where it is. Anyway, maybe I'll find it while we're.
I have my own train wreck story, Peter. I went to a casting call, and I had a injection of stem cells in my shoulder before, which was a bad idea because my shoulder was in pain, and my so-called smile looked like I was just grimacing and in pain. It was not the way to do it. I needless to say, I didn't get that job. They probably picked you instead.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, grimacing is not good. No, you couldn't fake it for a second there?
I tried. I thought I was, but I'm sure it didn't. It's just like you said. They go, okay, you always know when you're just getting ushered out, right? It's like, thank you. Yeah, that was really good. Learn how to smile and come back.
I think I found it, maybe.
You got that
I didn't
picture?
look. Anyway, I'm looking through a folder that it might be in. But that's the key. So the key is creating a legitimately real smile. No, it's not in this folder. That's all right. It's an awesome shot, and I do have it around somewhere, but no big deal. Yeah, the smile. The other thing is that if you squinch without a smile, you look like a real prick. So you gotta really, you can't, you gotta be careful with that one.
Even a little smile, right? Otherwise, you look like you're just kind of beady-eyed on people, right?
Yeah, you need a hint of a smile.
Smile.
Even if you're being like, well, I always run the gamut with people's expression when I'm working with people, or I try to. So I'm doing I like to do it with everybody. With actors, definitely. You can do in negative facial expressions. Like for me, one of my favorites is sneaky, which is kind of towards the negative side, and cocky, which is then it has a little smirk, devious. Those types of words I like. Where on the other side, it's like, I put up this range of expression gauge, and if you're all the way over here is cracking up incredibly, and over here is just angry and mean and pissed off, then in the middle is blank, and you've got to run the person one way or the other at all times. And I don't think photographers take responsibility for that. So what happens is the person gets in front of the camera and they haven't studied or worked. Like I believe studying this stuff and working on it on a daily basis is huge. And they haven't studied or worked or done anything, and now they get the person in front of the camera and they think their lighting's good, and they're good at lighting and pressing the shutter button, and that's about it. And then there's no life in it. It doesn't really jive for me.
Boy, here. All right, let's talk about your use of Hurleyisms as a tool, right? So how do you use them? What is a Hurleyism, first of all? You might as well start there. Let's define that.
I didn't define that. I was just minding my own business, but I started teaching this workshop called the Headshot Intensive, and I did my first one, and my big reveal to the world was teaching people this concept. Now it's out there, and I told everybody, and people make up their own, and they do their thing. And you can go to Hurleyisms.com and see what they are, and see how they run and everything. But
Jared, stick that in there.
The way it works is photographers have always been on the hook to make their subjects smile for, ever since the cameras where you couldn't move and you had to freeze and they had slow shutter speeds, But then this say cheese thing got happening, and then, then that went worldwide, and all these fake smiles happen and everything. And I was like, well, what's the number one way to get somebody to give you what you want in front of the camera is to get them to chill out and forget about the camera. So the thing that I found is there's a couple things, is that as humans, we can do subtle multitasking. But what happens when you get in front of a camera, it's so powerful that your brain is fixated on it. So when a photographer gives directions to their subject, they don't usually go through their brain just fixated on the camera. So it doesn't really help. So it gets frustrating and you don't know what to do, especially if somebody's that fearful of having their picture captured, because that seems to do it to people. So what you try and do is you have to one-up the camera. So this is what I figured out. And I was like, because when I was shooting all actors, and I was an actor, so I was trying to figure out how to direct. And I was like, okay, do a monologue, do this, do that. Let me run you through a scene. But I was an actor, so I spoke their language, and it worked a lot of the time. But then I got like a corporate person in, and I'd be like, I can't say anything like that. So everything that I was working on to develop my directorial skills as a photographer went out the window, because I hadn't ever directed anybody but actors. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on. I need to get my act together and really do something here. And then one day, it was like a gift was given me. So photographers come up with what I consider their shtick, something that they know made their subject laugh, and they say it again. And sometimes it's I'm not into cheesy, I do say cheesy things, but those photographers that have shot me where they had that one joke or something, or they actually tell a joke, that's like horrible. Think about the amount of time. I don't have time for anything when I'm shooting. I'm not going to take any amount of time that it takes to say a joke. But what I found is that the way that this started anyway was humans like to be right about everything, or at least seem like they know what you're saying or what you're asking for. So what happens is you get somebody in front of your camera, they're there to take pictures in my scenario. So I'm not outside on the street shooting a documentary or watching stuff happen in front of me. They're coming to my space for a specific purpose. They're in front of my camera. And boom, if I don't do something, nothing's going to happen. So I need to create an atmosphere. And that's how one day something popped into my head and I thought, let me try this. And it was basically, I called it direction by misdirection. So, and then what I did was every day I said something, I wrote it down. So I have lists of, I think there's 1,000 of them on the Hurleyisms app if you pay for the pro portion of them. And I'm adding stuff, to my repertoire every day of what I do. And it's just a bunch of crap. It doesn't mean anything. But people think it means something. So I'll give you an example. So
Can you try one on me? I mean, let's say I'm coming in and I'm like deer in the headlights and nervous and.
Sure. Yeah. First of all, I would set you up. So you have to lay it on the person at the right set. Like if you're not in the right position for me to shoot, it doesn't help me.
All right.
So it's a timing thing. So this thing called the Hurley headshot system, which I go through a series of things. I work from the ground up. So I would place you in my lighting based on your feet, based on the light that's furthest from me. And then once you're there, then I start to manipulate your body. So turn slightly to your left. Slightly to your left. No, your body. Body slightly left, please. There you go. Now work your nostrils back to the right a little bit. There you go. And now jam your forehead out. Jam your forehead out a little bit. Chin down. Perfect. Now tilt your head slightly towards the Empire State Building for me.
There you go.
And now I'm shooting.
Boom! So I'm having to think where the F is the Empire State
coming. And
really,
then I wait
that was
to see that. And now you're laughing. And now when you come back to rest, you're not thinking about the camera, and I get the best serious stuff too. So that's a simple directional one that I use every day.
That's a good one.
And you can
I didn't see it coming.
Anywhere.
You're right.
You wouldn't even know. You can try this. Bring your forehead out, and then go do forehead up and chin down for me. So forehead up and chin down.
Is that down enough?
Forehead up, and then chin down. Yeah, but chin down. No, forehead up and then chin down. You're gonna have to open your mouth to do it.
It's so impossible. Forehead up, chin down. I'm like, what is he trying to tell me to do?
I like that right there. Slightly freeze for me, right there. Slightly freeze. No, you're frozen. I was asking you to.
Slightly freeze.
Yeah.
Slight frozen.
So things that they mean nothing.
No, that's really good.
Means absolutely nothing. But I've got you in my position, so I've got all this backlog in my head of what I'm trying to do and get out of you, and see what you could do, and then see that you. What I'm doing is I'm taking this session, I'm dumbing it down, and I'm taking the power away from the cameras. Now the camera scene's insignificant because you're just like, this guy's nuts. What's he going to say next?
No, that's so awesome. Because basically you're just. What you caused me to do right there, even though I don't really pay much attention to my camera, I completely forgot about it. I was listening to you. That's it. I'm just listening to you. There's nothing else going on.
You don't have a concern for the camera, probably, so you'd be an easy subject to work with.
But even so, I forgot about the whole subject of what I was doing, and you took over control because you had me do these head up, chin down. I love that. That's great.
And everybody's different. I got directed. I realized this, how important this was when I was working with the photographers I was working with. I had a different response to each one, dependent upon how I felt. and that would give me a different look in the camera. So I just had my picture taken. I did the mustache, which I've never done, so this is really strange for me to have this thing on my face.
It's pretty wild.
But it's pretty funny, and people are getting a kick out of it. My wife likes it, so I just gonna roll with it for a little bit until I'm like, but I'm like, when I meet new people, I'm like, this is not normal. This is not me. You know, I'm like wondering what they're thinking about me, which I probably shouldn't. But anyways, I did the mustache. I had a beard. I shaved it to the mustache. I was like, this looks crazy. I've done it before, but I always shave it off and never walk out in public. And I was like, well, it's a pandemic. I'll just put my mask on if I'm worried about it.
That's true.
And one of my friends who I love, who was an amazing portrait photographer, John Keatley, saw me on Instagram or something. He's like, you didn't shave it, did you? I was like, no. He goes, I want to take a picture through FaceTime. He's doing these amazing FaceTime portraits. You can look at his Instagram, at John Keatley. But he asked me to do one with him, and it being directed by somebody who has, like, he's doing it through a phone, and it was such a cool experience to be directed by somebody who really knows what they're doing and really is in tune with their art, and that is dependent upon the photographer. And when the photographer wasn't like that, I would fall off a ledge with the modeling. I remember at the end of my career, I was just like, I just can't do this unless somebody's, giving me something. I had one guy, like, one guy told me, just do what you do. I'll show you this. This is a good one if I can
do what you do. And Peter, I want to underscore this. You said something that I don't want to just zoom by, which is you're the director. And this is a really important point, because a photographer could take a back seat and think the subject is going to give them whatever they want, rather than like a film director. You're telling them how you want them to look, where you want them to stand. You're setting up the lights, you're setting up the camera, and you're in control of the whole thing, which is really being an active photographer, not a passive photographer.
Absolutely.
Super important.
So, it's a huge thing. It's what I coach. It's why I teach all these people on the headshot crew. I'm like, look, you don't have to do it like me either. I mean, I think I coach people the way I do it because that's the only way I know how to do it. But what I'm trying to get them to do is go, oh, I get the concept. Let me figure it out my own way, which is just get people outside of their, getting their attention off the camera. That's all it is. So I did some modeling for Wrangler. This is faces. I can't tilt the camera from where I am, but my face is actually in it. But I did this job in North Carolina. I was out in a field and I'm wearing the Wranglers. And I was comfortable. I was fine. The photographer was cool. They brought me back to New York City. I did a lot of stuff for Wrangler that year. And they brought me back to New York City, and they put me in a studio on a white cyc, and they had all the clients and everybody in front of me. And I had a long night at the bar. I was bartending till like 4 a.m, and then had to be on the set at like 7 or 8 or something. And then I fell asleep, and they called my agent. They're like, the model's sleeping. And then they finally got me in the jeans. They put me in front of the camera, and the photographer says to me, okay, just do what you do. And I was like,
what is that?
I don't do anything. What do you mean? I don't do anything. I don't do anything. So, and it was so weird, and I must have been freaked out. I probably did a couple things, but I'm sure I was negative squinching, because when the ad came out, it came out, and this is the ad.
We need to see your head, though. Oh, that's the whole ad.
Yeah,
they just
shot me off. That was the ad.
There's your squinch. Didn't work.
That was the ad. So I've always told photographers that they have to get this ass. If you want to be a portrait photographer, some people are so petrified to direct people, and it just scares. They hit the terror barrier right away. If you want to be a portrait photographer, then you've got to do this. And if you don't, then go shoot some rocks,
And sooner or later, though, I contend that sooner or later we're all going to shoot portraits, and we should be prepared for it. It's going to happen. Even if it's just your family and friends, you're going to take a portrait. So you ought to know the skills of it. It's really important.
Yeah, I see some of the chat, and Ugo is asking me, he's one of my buddies in the Netherlands, and he's asking me to tell you which side is your side. And we tried to flush that out last time.
What do you think?
So, well, you're always wearing the hat. How the heck am I supposed to know?
I can't take it off. I haven't had a hair. I look like a homeless person when I take it off.
All right, go. No, I think you're a. I think you're what? No, you're a righty. Go back the other way. Don't go that way. Yeah, that's better. I think that's better.
So my right side is better. This side.
Right. Is that your right? Are we?
This is my left. Sorry. I'm looking at the.
Let me see. Go nose this way. Go nose the other way. Keep going that way. That way. No, stop. Will you just go one way or the other?
Okay, there we go.
Stay there. Now do the opposite. Look toward your left. Stay there. That's the side. I think.
This is my right side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You're a right.
I can see that. I'm a righty.
Slightly strong. Straight
I'm
on.
left-handed
really
and a right face.
Where have you parted your hair most of your life?
My hair goes from this side to this side.
Really?
So yeah.
So there's a hair part theory.
I know.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I like that side better actually as well. Okay. And that's something you try to, obviously you do that with all your models, your subjects, you're going to just have them move until you see which one looks better.
You have to, and that's part of the artistry of you as an artist. I mean, if you if you shoot somebody's bad side, it can't. I mean, I don't go into a shoot and go, all right, I'm not going to pull out all the stops on this one. I don't need to find their best side. What do I need to do that for? Like I go in, I think every time a photographer, if they're really worth their salt, they're trying to take the best image that they can at every moment that shutter presses.
Absolutely.
So I got to get their good side. I mean, I have no choice. It's not even a question.
And that's true with any type of photography. If you were doing architectural photography and you left a funky car in the frame in front of the house, that's a bad photograph. You move the car, you get it out of the way, right? Yeah. And make the house look as good as possible. In this case, the person. It's just being responsible for everything in the frame, which is.
That's interesting. I like the way you put that because that's amazing. Somebody said they were shooting some architecture. They were shooting a house during the pandemic, and some of these people were moving out, but they were the renters, but the people were trying to sell it, and all their crap was everybody. And they went in to shoot it, and they're like, do I take this picture or do I make the people clean it up? Do I have to move stuff around? Like that's a terrible thing to have to do.
You got to do it, right? Or was it Irving Penn that said photography is 90% moving furniture? It's a joke, but the point is.
Remember, he says goes.
We'll have to Google that one, but the point is, as a photographer, again, as a director, if there's a plant in the frame coming out of the back of the guy's head, you either move them or you move the plant. You don't leave these things coming out of the back of the guy's head. It looks weird. Well, Peter, this is amazing.
When just to finish that point, when you're a headshot photographer shooting on a white background or a blank background, you only have their face, so you got to move it. It's like
absolutely. That's all there is to it. Let's see if you guys have any other questions before we end off. We've been at this for 45 minutes. It feels like 5 minutes. It's amazing. But getting back to my questions, so if I'm going to use Hurleyisms, I just would kind of look it over and pick a few and throw them out and just see what happens. If it doesn't work, I pick another one. And is there any method to your madness here?
Comfort. You have to believe it. Like you can't be like
try to turn
your towards the Canadian border. Like you don't, if you don't believe it, like I say a lot of crap and I make up really dumb ones and crazy ones too. And if you don't believe it, you can't use it. Like it has to resonate with you. Like it's my crap, but you can make up your own. You know, I've said things. There's so many photographers. I taught this, and then photographers come up with ones that I like. So Pedro in Lisbon, who's my buddy and helps me run Headshot Crew, he said this one day, and I use it all the time, and I'm proud to give him credit for it. I say, give me a look like you've detected a mysterious aroma.
I love that. That's good. That's a good one. Whatever's going to do the job, right? What is your favorite Hurleyism?
He said Arnold Newman.
Arnold Newman. That's right.
No,
it was Annie Leibovitz picked it up. I heard it in something she was saying, but it's true. You walk into the environment. This is absolutely true when you're shooting video. You walk in and things do not look right. You have to move them around until they do look right. And don't be afraid to do that. It's like not taboo to move things or to move the subject, move the light, move whatever until it looks the way you want. Okay, but let me ask you that. What is your favorite Hurleyism?
My favorite Hurleyism, probably, and I don't know how much of a Hurleyism this is, but the one that I say all the time, I use it. I don't use it much anymore, but I love it because it gets a reaction and it allows me to see where they're at. So whenever I get somebody first in front of the camera and they don't make any kind of face or anything, I just say, "Don't look so miserable," and then usually that elicits a smile. People don't want to look miserable in pictures, so usually that's one that's just easy. It's straight to the point, and it gets the job done. And it's funny because there's so many of them that I forget them. Like I should really go into my Hurleyisms app and dig out
your own stuff. I have
my favorites.
Yeah,
I like ones that people don't. Well, one of the ones is that I like ones that where people can't tell if I'm messing with them or not. Like they just don't know. So if I said to you, Mark, I'm going to need you to do me a favor because there's only three. You are aware that there's only three things that you can move on your face. So I'm going to try and get you to engage all three of them simultaneously. Do you know what they are? Mouth, eyes. Eyebrows.
That's it, huh? Only three.
Mouth, eyes, eyebrows. That's right. Yeah. So just do me a favor. Relax everything for a second, and now just reticulate your eyebrows for me.
Reticulate.
Yeah. Start the reticulation. Let me see.
What?
No. Start reticulating them.
I'm afraid I'm gonna have to look that word up.
It's really cool. If you can get it done, it's very hard to do. But if you can reticulate, I'm waiting.
What? Tell me what a friggin' reticulation is. Okay. You are yanking my chain, brother.
On and on and on. Reticulate means to form a net. If you can form a net with your eyebrows, I'd be impressed.
Form a net. Okay, I'm going to cross my right eyebrow over my left into a net. Yeah. Let me try that.
Go. I was shooting this writer, and she came in, and I hit her with the reticulate your eyebrows, and she was like, and I kept saying, you're not reticulate. I really need you to
reticulate those things.
Reticulate does not. You cannot reticulate means to form a net. You form a net with your eyebrows. She got mad. I was like, oh boy, I better back off on this one.
At least she knew what it was.
Yeah. Hugo was asking me about my Mikhail Baryshnikov story, which I usually tell in the workshop that I do. I've been fortunate enough to shoot a handful of celebrities here and there, and I love it. It's awesome.
We got that on our last interview too. If you want to, I could pull this up, but we actually have that already recorded. We could.
Yeah, I just was gonna say, when I think as you work on your craft, you become better and better and better. I feel rusty now because I haven't shot since March 6th, but with him, that was 2010. Like I'm sure I direct him differently today than I did then, and I look back on it as a learning experience because I hit him with a Hurleyism and then I backpedaled. I did the whole one of my favorite ones, tilt your head towards the Empire State Building. It's right out my window. It's right out his window, and then I was like, it didn't land, and it was uncomfortable. But then we connected later, and it was great. And I got the shots. It was awesome. But it was a learning process for me because shooting a figure like that, he was probably the most famous person I shot up to that point, I think. And
I've got this photo up here, and he has a pretty serious look on his face. What was it that was going on? Is that what you were after? And then he just gave you that?
Like that shot, like his hand, and I like the expression. a couple things out with him. From that distance, usually I did come in and shoot some headshots, and I probably worked in some warmth. He did have the eye difference, which I did not work with him on because I wasn't as adept at it as I did now. I actually didn't figure out independent squinching until 2012, and this was probably 2010.
Right.
So it's like you're learning, you're getting better. I got more moves now than I had then. I'm more confident of a human being because I've been working my craft, and I'm not getting younger either. So you get to this stage of the game where you're just like, fuck it. I guess.
I hear you. Rhymes with bucket. We got another question from Eduardo. I knew that you shoot mostly with constant light, but can you give us a basic start settings about speed lights and camera? Well, we're going to cram that into the next 2.5 minutes. But what are some simple basics?
Eduardo, first of all, stay safe over there. Hopefully you're doing well in Italy. I really power them down. I mean, I use the Canon speed lights sometimes, and I put them into rapid boxes. I like to soften them up, so I put them into Westcott rapid boxes. You can look at those. They're the 10x24 ones, and I'll put them in a triangular configuration, and then I'll just power them however I need. But usually I try not to go too high a power because I like my aperture pretty open, and I also want to conserve battery because you're running on batteries. You don't need if you don't need that much power, you don't want to power them too crazy, but you usually want to make them even unless you're doing on my 3-light setup with men, I'm doing a key, a fill, and a kick, and then they're not going to be even. Obviously the key is going to be the most powerful, the fill is going to just be barely, but I'm usually never going anywhere. I'm doing like 16th power on them. Like it's never, I never even
dial it down.
And I'm not a TTL guy. Like I'm very into manual, and everything has to be firing at exactly what I want.
Okay, well, there you go. That'll be the subject of another episode with you where we maybe get into lighting, because we're really been focusing on, how you talk or how you work with the subject, and, that's a whole other area.
Plenty of lighting about, sure.
We will bring that up on another episode.
We were going to talk about today, and we blew through an hour like lickety.
Like it's amazing. I mean, here we are at the end of the hour. Well, listen, Peter, I love your generosity. I love your whole approach, your humor. You bring this to such a great level that we couldn't help but want to go out and get some headshots or portraits. But what would you like to say to these guys as a final point, a final tip to help them improve their ability to get portraits?
What I'm hoping is that we're all shooting some portraits again very soon.
Yeah.
So my thing is that we should all be rusty, which what I would say to you is there's really not much, unless you offend somebody, that you could possibly do. You have to risk looking stupid in what you're saying or doing to get to stuff that will work the next time. And I work off repetition. So I say things and do things to try them. And then if it doesn't work, I'm just like, well, I didn't, I didn't mean to say that. Just that obviously did not work for you or whatever, and then you backpedal. Don't try. You're never going to add to your repertoire. And if you don't have repetition, you will not be as confident as a photographer. I know if somebody walked in that door exactly how I'm going to direct them because of repetition. So you need to develop a shtick, basically, based off repetition of things that work for you. Like you, don't try to be like somebody else. You can use the stuff that I give you if it resonates. If it doesn't resonate, take the concept, make it your own.
Beautiful. Well, Peter, thanks again. We're going to have you back because each time we do this, we just kind of open up a whole new book that we got to get into. But thank you once again for your generosity and sharing with us your secrets. And we're all going to look at Hurleyisms and start using them. That's for doggone sure.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. I really enjoy talking to you every time I'm on. So anytime.
Same here. We'll catch up again real soon. Take care.
All right, cool. See ya.
Okay, guys, that was awesome. And I know you need to absorb what he said, and what he said put to use. You've got somebody around that you can try these things out with, even yourself. I mean, I'm going to be practicing my squinch. I know I don't have it down yet, and look at his Hurleyisms. Start slinging those out and see what happens. Okay, this is really cool. So a couple of things before we end off here. First of all, if you are not in our AYP club, please join it immediately, because that's where you guys can stay connected up with other members of this cool community. And I am going to schedule a live Facebook for our AYP club. So you got to be a member of the AYP club to partake of that. So get in there. Jared will put the link up. What else? So make sure you guys are spreading the word about these shows, AYP, Advancing Your Photography. Tell your friends, okay? If you're on other groups or whatever and you know people, just tell them about it, because this is the real deal. We're getting you in contact with amazing photographers and hearing exactly what's going on. This isn't just made up stuff. This is speaking from experience, okay? This video will be out. In fact, you can continue to click on the link, but we will have an edited version of it soon. Meanwhile, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe and enable the bell so you don't miss any episodes. Like it, leave your comments. Remember, my goal, and why I call it Advancing Your Photography, is I want to help you continually advance. Every one of these episodes opens a new door. Even if you're a landscape photographer and you never think you're going to photograph a person, you learn things from this episode, I guarantee it. So the goal is continually advancing your photography. Okay? I love you guys. Stay safe, stay well, and remember to get out and capture your own images of life. We'll see you guys really soon on our next episode. Take care.